Hello, welcome to the Tour de Boudicca. I'm joined today by Jilly Bean and Becky Neeson. How you doing?
Good. And
Doing well.
we should welcome you since you missed yesterday having your real life. And we
Yeah,
welcome
I think we are
Reese
hosting you.
Powell.
Do you want to
Yeah,
do the intro
bring us.
again?
Yes, we'll just reset and we'll say welcome to the second day of all women racing with special guest Reese Howell.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Don't get used to it. Jillian, will you just recap the racing score as we're getting underway?
Yeah, so there are 5 separate categories. Pen A, we're just going to call them A. Racing score is between 500 and 1,000. Racing scores progressively get lower as we, I guess, increase in the alphabet, decrease in numbers. Pen B is going to be 375 to 500. Pen C, 250 to 375. Pen D, 125 to 250. Pen E coming up from 0 to 125. These are some of our individual general classification scores that you see up on the screen now. This is for Pen A. First place, we've got Leonie Harper. Second place, Lizzie Brooke. Third place, Therese Walkendorf. Fourth place, Becca Gocha Paul.
Gotcha.
Well, I will learn that name by the end of the day. Fifth place, we've got Catherine Curry. Moving to the Pen B individual general classification, Carolina Leonenon. Second place, Louise Deek. Third place, Joe Grogan. Fourth place, Holly Martinson. Fifth place, Clara Legros. Moving into category C, the 250 to 375 category. First place, we've got Becky Clare. Second, we've got Charmian Monroe. Third place, Belinda Van Reen. Fourth place, Sarah Allen. And fifth place for Sarah Mack. Pen D, 125 to 250 is first place. We've got Tara Calkins. Second place, Connie Tang. Third, Isabel Stenvold. Fourth place is Blair Knoll. Fifth is Sarah Hughes. And coming in at Pen E, 0 to 125 category, Ann Walker. First place. Second place, we have Ash Orme. Third place, Karis Willoughby. Fourth place, Karen Marchant. Fifth place is Michelle S. So just a reminder, yesterday was all about time, and today we start seeing some points integrated into the team general classification.
Great.
All
Let's have
right.
a quick look at the stage. Over to you, Becca.
All right. So today's stage is Sugar Cookie, which is a flat, then up stage. So we've got 4 intermediates that will count towards the team classification only. Our racers right now are on a long descent that's not pictured in the Velo Viewer. There's a really long, almost 6-kilometer lead into this course, which is down through the jungle and over to the coastal road. So the action is really going to start after that descent, where there's a slight climb to the first sprint that begins around 7.3 kilometers. So you can see on the top right the estimated times. This is looking like it's going to be a really long course for our D and E category women. They're going to have to fight for a really long time. It's going to be a long fight for everybody, but particularly long for those people that are looking at over 70 minutes of racing. The first 2 sprint segments we have are FAL, and the second 2 are FTS. These are all really long sprints, the shortest one being 0.35 kilometers and the longest being 0.5 kilometers. So maybe not traditional sprint, favoring traditional sprinters because they're a little longer. So our women are going to get feather, arrow, and draft power-ups randomly assigned when they hit either a banner or a lap banner or a segment finish line. And again, what Jillian had said about individual classification is going to be an interesting dynamic in this race, because you're going to have women that are going for that individual time based only, which means they don't care about the segments, and those that are going for team points are going to try to hit fastest through for those second 2 sprints and first across the line for the first 2 sprints. So we were hoping that special guest Reese would give us an overview of how chaos monkeys might disrupt the field in this day of racing. And Reese, if you don't know, is the head of Coalition. He started the elite team almost, I think you said 8 years ago, and the community team 4 years ago today. So it's Coalition's birthday. Happy birthday. And he's seen a lot. He's DS'd a lot of elite races, and he's seen a lot of DS racing, elite racing. So I was hoping he might be able to give us an overview of what type of chaos we could see and what type of structure.
Sure, happy to. I'm just going to pull in some of the racing while we discuss that. So here we are. We're just currently in with the bees, so we're just going to sit with them. They're just in that descent that Becca was talking about. So I guess technically not even on the route just yet. Yeah, chaos monkeys. I guess it's a term I think I hadn't heard until you mentioned it. But the concept of having sort of chaos monkeys is, I guess, nothing particularly new. The idea being that especially in different sort of points races, you can have people who can disrupt the race in some sort of way, or they have their own significant goal. It's especially happens a lot more than when you're in a typical scratch race where the only points are on the finish line, and it allows people to go off, attack at different sections, and it makes the racing a lot more kind of exciting. And it's more exciting as well if you're a racer and you can have your own kind of role which you can fulfill within the race. And yeah, it's really nice, especially then because you can play to people's different capabilities, which is necessarily not always the case. So I know before, especially in the elite racing, when we've had riders who maybe we know aren't going to survive up a really tough climb, if there's some sprint options for them, even if they're not a sprinter, we'll just say like, listen, this is where we're going to go. And it's almost even better because if nobody even thinks that person is dangerous, then you can use that to their advantage. So they can go off the front and everyone will be like, well, we're not worried about that person. And then sometimes they can stay away and get some sprint points from an early attack. So it adds a lot more dynamism to a race. And I think it makes it a lot more exciting. So yeah, chaos monkeys or whatever you want to call them. It just in general makes for much more exciting racing for those in the race. More exciting as well to watch. So all for them.
All right.
I think we're going to see kind of both kinds, or like several different types of chaos monkeys today, because as Becca, you mentioned, those the first 2 sprints are FAL, or first across the line, meaning that the first person who crosses the finish line is going to collect, the highest number of points. And the highest number of points for all of the sprints is 25 points, and then down through I think they're scored 10 deep, and the 10th rider is going to be worth, they're going to collect 1 point. But then as we see the second half of the race and we get into those FTS, or fastest through sprints, then we're going to see we're really going to see like the domestiques come out. We're going to see the lead out trains potentially. And we're going to see people kind of like more working together rather than maybe sending a rider off the front to collect those points.
Yeah, it should be interesting. The A's might be coming up to the first interesting segment, which is the Stoneway Sprint at 7.8 kilometers. Reese, do you think we could switch over to the A's?
Genau. Keep talking and I will make it so.
All right. So right now we're watching the B's, who are likely just a little bit behind the A's. And the lead in to the first sprint is uphill. So it'll be interesting. This is a first across the line sprint. So we want to see the top 10 through. And the second sprint is also FAL. So I'm curious to see if some of these chaos monkeys are going to try to push through that first segment and onto the second segment. So we see Anna Russell in there. She's a great racer. I think, is it,
We're
Natalie?
already seeing some chaos.
Oh, we've
Oh,
got,
look at this.
Britt's up there from Riot. Yep, Anna
So
Russell.
okay, so Britt is a chaos monkey. If we were to define chaos, it would be Britt Lytton. She is,
Yes.
she loves to just see, like, what damage can I do at this point in the race? And she doesn't necessarily think of all of the race as, I just want to do the best. She's like, I want the team to do the best, and how can I make everyone else suffer so that my team can do best? And I love that mentality.
Yeah, I want to be her when I grow up.
Yeah. So we see, actually, they're on the Stoneway. So I see Anne in there. Awesome for Anne. This is a longer sprint, so that diesel engine can really work at it. There's Gucha coming behind her. She might be doing a lead out for her, which is awesome. That was a pretty impressive sprint. I saw Gucha.
I think it goes to Aeonian, right? The first across the line was an Aeonian rider.
Lizzie Brooks, I think. Oh wait, no, it was BL13. And then what's that? And then,
but look,
then we have 2 Aeonian. Okay.
But there's a bit of a split in the race already, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to continue on and hold that split. I think maybe they've sat, well, I don't know, still doing 3.5 watts per kilo, not completely sat up. But yeah, if you look behind, just look how strung out it is. So those who weren't going for that, those sprint points, gonna have to put in a bit of a dig in here. So even if you're not sprinting, you still gotta work for it. But it does look like
you'll have to sprint.
It looks like it's going to come back together. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any major split. So
this would be super early because it's 39 kilometers. So I think actually I'm looking at the C's, and even they're heading up to the sprint now. So we may have missed the B sprint, and the C's are hitting it right now. So if we
do you have the C's on your screen?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okie doke. Then the power of technology.
Yeah. So we can see they're halfway through the sprint. All of those power-ups are dropping.
Well, I say the power of technology, but the screen sharing from yours, it's more of an impressionist painting of the sprint.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is pretty good. Look, if I do reverse, I can see everybody. Oh, everyone coming through.
It looked like Van Reen was going to run away with it. And then I can't tell if she was caught at the line.
And yeah, and here's Daniela, who is a powerhouse. So that was definitely a power sprint from her, coming all the way through that front position. And you see AO up there too. I'm wondering if this group is huge. It's 95 in this field. So this front group is 91 still. That's a lot.
I would be surprised that as they sort of collect those sprints, that we see this field really stretch apart. Right, we're in with the C's here.
Yeah. So
because the talent in the C's can be quite wide.
So that's 250 to 375. So then we can switch back and look at 125 to 250. That's the D pen and the E pen behind them.
So I'm currently in with we've now got the E's up. So I'm not sure where the D's are, but we can obviously switch to them. Obviously, the E's quite a small group. So it should be interesting to see how they play it. I mean, because it is so small, it does mean there's an opportunity to potentially get dropped here because there's not going to be any other riders to stick with. So everybody has to pretty much sprint for this one. Or maybe because there are so few of them, they're not going to be as competitive on it. It'd be interesting to see.
So I'm in with the D's right now, and they just blasted through that finish line. It looks like I see Rave, I see Level, I see Galaxy, I see AO, I see Coalition. Woohoo! And then looks like some more Level and Herd rounding out that top 10. So so everybody's through that first sprint except for the E's. And I think maybe we can watch each category for one more sprint. So the A's are going to come up to 10.3 soon. Maybe we could watch them through that first sprint and then try to catch others at the Sasquatch and the Woodland sprint. So many sprints to come. That first sprint was pretty great. It seemed to blow apart everyone but no one. So everyone seems to be coming back together in their respective categories, which is understandable because it's a 39-kilometer race. So no one wants to do it alone.
Exactly. You don't want to blow up too soon.
Yeah.
I partially think that the D's might all stay together because they are such a small group. So I could see someone, kind of revving up their engine, getting through the sprints, and then really sitting up and making sure they stick with that, with this little peloton that we have here. Because otherwise, yeah, like you mentioned, 39 kilometers that's a long race to do solo.
And also thinking about team tactics, I mean, there's 3 Galaxy riders here, 2 Vixen. I mean, so how is that going to play into it as well? I mean, if you're Galaxy, I mean, I would be sending somebody off the front and then expecting the two Vixen girls to chase after her. But they're playing it pretty coy at the moment anyway.
They may be a little intimidated by how long this is. We actually missed both the A and the B's going through that Acropolis sprint. So let's go to the C's to try to see if we can catch them. And it's looking, that was fast and furious. So there's no split that I see in the B's other than Clara Lagros is off the front.
I love this. I love seeing the avatars out of the saddle, and you can tell just how hard the riders are working.
Oh yeah. So Reese, you plugged into which category?
We're still with the E's. So because there are 5 categories to cover, we are going to miss some of the action, but we're going to try and give everybody a little bit of exposure. So we have just seen Bosch from Galaxy coming over the line first and creating a bit of a gap for the E's. And then we will head over now. I'll just quickly, we're going to head over back to the A's, and then we will try and jump back to the C's as well.
So the next point of interest we have, the Sasquatch sprint, is at 16.1 kilometers. So they have a while to go there. This is a flat segment between the FAL segments and the FTS segments. I was curious to see whether we would see any breaks in the A field or the B field after that FAL second sprint. It looks like we do not have one in either field, other than Clara Lagros is 10 seconds off the front of the B group. So there is a tiny breakaway, and she is super strong. So maybe she'll hold it. Unlikely.
So we are now in with the C's. So
all right. And the C's have just gone through that second sprint. So the second sprint was at 10.3 kilometers. So they're just recovering after getting through that sprint.
All right. Next stage, we have less sprints so close together.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fast and furious, but great to see at least one group of them go through it. So we saw the E's working it, and that was, I mean, as Jillian said, out of the saddle, super, super good work. So 16 kilometers is where we want to go. We want to hit the A's for that. So.
All right. Well, currently just jump back to the D's. I guess they've been through the sprint as well.
Yep, they just finished as well. So they are.
Can people ride a bit slower as well? These women are too quick.
I mean, that's what they're telling themselves right now. Actually, everybody. Oh, you see the Queen Bee jersey there.
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing to point out is we see this black and white chevron jersey in every single category. So that's our current general classification individual leader. So it doesn't matter what team they're on. Every individual leader is going to be in that Queen Bee jersey. So this, I'm not sure who's in it for category. You said this was category D.
In the D's, the leader is Tara correct? Tara Calkins.
I believe so.
Let's see. We can go back to.
We're going to jump back to the A's then.
Yeah, I've got the A's up if you want to.
No, we want to see it in some level of quality, Becca.
Oh my gosh, that was a burn.
Wait, I'm on my new computer.
Yeah, I
Yesterday, apologies to everyone. I don't have the processing power of whatever it is that Reese has going on. So, and my new one is nice. So, go away. So the A's have just over a kilometer till the start of this third sprint. This third sprint is going to favor people who are trying to come from the back because it is FTS. So we'll see who starts to sag and whether they're playing that game of, who can outsag each other. So you always have certain people. I know Level's quite good at it. You'll see them start to shift towards the back of the pack, getting ready for that sprint. And that sprint is not short.
No, I think it's one of the longer ones. No, actually, this is the shortest sprint.
It's the shortest one. It's 0.35 kilometers at
350 meters.
So relatively flat. Yeah.
Right. And for those of you who are not a sprinter, 350 meters that's a big effort.
Yeah.
But it is the shortest one of the day. So we're going to probably see some of the biggest power numbers here.
Well, we're already seeing an arrow at the front. Maybe that's a little bit premature because
that might be a fat finger error.
Well, and unless they're the beginning of a lead out train, then they want that advantage of getting up to the front so their riders can sneak in behind them. And then
they're not going to contest it and they just want to get rid of that power up.
Interesting.
You do see that Queen Bee jersey hanging on the back, waiting for that sprint to start. So
we've got Riot's all sitting on the back.
Yeah, Electric Spirit. You see Gina from the Zwift Women's. That's part of that team that I spoke about yesterday that worked their way up as a team from C to B to A, which is super cool to see. And that Queen Bee jersey is going to start ramping it up just about here. They're 200 meters out from the sprint. So
nobody going just yet. So maybe a bit cagey.
Yeah, everyone's playing the sag game. Look at that. Oh, there it goes. I saw someone pop red numbers. Here we go.
We're hopping up.
We see 6. You really want to hit that segment at speed. So it's that game of how can we sag and how can we get ahead from there? Ooh, I see 11 watts a kilo, 12.4 watts a kilo. Holy moly.
Wow.
These women are flying. Team Castelli. Actually, we did get that was awesome.
I think it was Hedgebauer who managed to stay off. Bankston was right on her tail, but I think she just managed to hold on there. It was a pretty impressive sprint.
Yeah. And you see, actually, interestingly, when it first started coming in, you saw Angela Roberts was second, and then she dropped down. So there were people still moving through the pack. That's how you see FAL and FTS kind of shake out.
So we're currently in with the Bees now as they go for the sprint.
All right, let's see. Oh, they're already hitting it super hard.
Yeah.
Come on, Vanessa. Let's go, Vanessa. She's my chaos monkey. Come on, Vanessa. Work it. Look at her. She's moving up there. Oh, she faded just before the line. She's a true sprinter. So I think
Beaver from Coalition in 4th place, though.
That's Vanessa.
Done. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Well, the only problem is when you see FTS here on the side, you're going to see all the cats mixed in. So you can't really easily decipher who got which point.
Right. It's world-based, not race-based.
Well, this is a total sprint fest because now we're in with the C's. This is a real challenge for me, technically, to try and get all of these sprints in. So far, so good. There is a lot of power-ups.
Wow. You can't even see the riders.
I know.
It's
Oh,
a
we're
And
going to
cloud of
see
skittles.
who's going to finish.
it's
Whoa,
interesting.
it's
Oh,
going to
let's
be
see it.
close.
Let's see her synergy.
Whoa! That's going
Oh,
to have to be a photo finish, I think.
yeah. Well,
Oh, but it's FTS, so it's not necessarily going to be the person who
Oh.
crosses the line first.
yeah,
Well, I'm not figuring that one out.
yeah. That's
I'm leaving that one to you.
yeah. I think we might have to wait for the finish to see all the points populate
I'm
on
hoping this
the
is the
tower.
right Connie. I think it is. Whew.
All right, so they still have a kilometer to go till they hit that sprint. So they'll be ramping up now, but this is the D's, right? So yeah,
Correct.
Yep.
see.
And the riders have they have just over 4 kilometers from the time that Sasquatch sprint ends to the time the woodland sprint begins. So they have
Oh my God.
not a whole lot of time to rest.
I have not a lot of time to rest.
And the woodland sprint's interesting because it's a downhill sprint and there's a tiny drag before the start of the sprint. So those people who are trying to sag could actually kind of fall back a little too much, and they
Kind of
really
get
have
popped off.
to,
Yep.
yeah,
Kind of popped off the back.
you really have to accelerate through the starting line. So let's see how they handle it.
So just from a timing perspective, we will try and catch the D's, go through the sprint, and then we'll probably jump back to the A's. So we're probably not going to be able to catch the E's through this sprint, sadly, just so we can try and catch as much of the action as we possibly can. So,
all right. Well, I've still got the A's if you want to use my janky setup. And so they're at 18.6 kilometers. So I think we can hit both just fine.
can we? Okay.
So yeah, the D's. So we see a lot of coalition in here. And actually what'll be interesting to see in the team categories is how the big teams use their riders. So are they going to use their people as chaos monkeys, or are they going to all try to go for those top 3? Because only your top 3 scores are going to count towards the team classification. So even if you had a whole bunch of well-rounded all-rounders that got points on every segment and finished, in the top 10, only 3 of your riders are going to count towards that team classification. So if it was coalition, level, it would be coalition, level.
Well, there are some big sprints coming.
Woo!
And Tinkermud from
Wow.
Herd putting out some big numbers, and she is going to stay away.
That was out of the blue.
I don't know. Wow.
No, not a chance.
I don't know if she's going to get FTS though, because she was all alone for most of that sprint. So that's the thing with FTS. Like you could finish first, and she did finish first significantly ahead of the rest of the riders. But if somebody was sagging at the back and came through with draft that whole time, they could still beat her in that FTS. And that's kind of that game that you have to play when you're trying to take FTS points. What happened to Jillian? She got.
Jillian is taking a wee break.
Yeah. She exited herself.
No, I exited her upon request.
Oh.
So,
That's fair.
So it's just me and you running the show for a few minutes.
Switch to the A's.
We're on the A's.
Oh. All right. Yay, good job. All right, change your camera angle. I want to watch this. All right, so this is also FTS. They're rounding the corner right now where they're going to start going down. Actually, no, we still have 0.8 kilometers. What am I talking about? Yeah,
You're just getting too excited, aren't you?
I was really too excited. I really like to watch people race. So
that's good, because that means you bring that sense of enthusiasm to the stream.
The Zwift ladies. Oh, okay. So Han gave me a correction on how to call out the Zwift ladies, which is that team that went from C to B to A together with Gina. And Julia Pello off the front. Let's see. That was an interesting choice by her.
Yeah, let's see if she's going to make it stick, or if it's just going to try and tease a few riders out, or sometimes people just want to stretch their legs a little bit. They're not serious, so they might just get out of the saddle. But let's have a look. and just see. I mean, she's doing 4.2 watts per kilo and got a 2-second gap already. So it seems pretty serious.
Yeah, but it's FTS and it's 0.5 kilometers. So it is downhill for the first part, but she's going to get caught by that big rolling group. And she just used her draft power up on the downhill. I'm not really sure what she's
Well,
doing
you
there.
have to be behind other riders. So,
Yeah.
you know, if it's increasing your draft, if you have nobody to draft off. But as these other riders come past, maybe that's going to do the magic.
Oh, come on. Come on. Go, Julia. Oh, I see Angela Roberts up there. She's a great sprinter. There's Anna Russell. Bringing it in. Bringing it in. Come on, Anna. Well
Whoa,
done.
it's a massive sprint. Wow. I think Borrell there kept it until the line, I believe.
Oh, it looks like, yeah, we've got actually does Zwift ladies had 2 in that top 10. That's awesome. Lizzie Brooke was up there. I see a couple ESRT up there. That's awesome. Electric Spirit. Who was it?
Now, shall I hop back and get the bees in?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. Then
So-
cover me.
All right. I do think that what's interesting about that A group is that you see people who are kind
Oh,
of edging.
damn.
Oh, come on, Joanne.
It is fast
Jo-
and furious.
All right, so this is you see somebody off the front again. I'm not sure,
Was
and
it a
she's also
Wah-
using her draft van. So if you have the
It's a
draft
Wahoo
van,
rider from it was Pumala,
Hmm.
I think, who got that sprint.
if you
Yeah,
have
that
a draft
application
van,
of the draft van, I think it's kind of smart. What do you think, Becca?
to use it when you're out front.
Yeah, because as you come, and I've definitely done this, like as you finish the sprint, if you've got a draft van and you want something else after you cross, before you're crossing the finish line, you get rid of it because you know that Peloton is going to come over top of you and you need a rest, right? Because you just kind of
Oh, for sure.
emptied a portion of your tank.
If
And
she was going for FTS, though, she should have waited. She should have waited until they were almost on top
Yeah.
of her to press it, because she pressed it like 25
All right,
seconds.
well, let's watch these C's. Who's going to get it?
Ooh, everybody is actually right on top of each other
It looks
time
like
wise.
it's a coalition.
Galaxy Coalition.
Woo, Tia!
Whoa,
That's awesome.
kudos. Galaxy in second.
Um,
Very nicely done.
yeah. I mean, I wish there was some way to see, other than running sauce, which is frowned upon by some people, to see what those times through that segment were, because it'd be really interesting to know. It's great that we can tell that there's a top 10 and I think they're all the A riders, but we want to know who finished in the top 10 in the C's and the D's as well. So we still have to watch the D's come through, right?
Correct.
All right. Let's see. We've got. Are you got it, Reese, or you want to use mine? Because I'm on Sonia right now, and she's at 19.6. I believe they're all together.
Don't worry, I got it. Just
Yeah,
Zwift companion app is being slack.
I'm feeling very judged on my processing speed.
You should be.
I'll have you know, I'm on a brand new computer today.
I know, which makes it more impressive that the quality is still so bad.
Yeah, I think that's the humorous part.
I was expecting big things after you bigged up your new computer, Becca, but
to me it looks crystal clear. I'm looking at Sonia like she's next to me. Like she's the cartoon character next to me.
Well, that is impressive.
Yeah, well, so I do think that it's interesting that we haven't seen big breaks. All the groups are still together. The A's were in a big pack in the front. We saw no one split out. We saw no one in the B's really split off, other than Clara for some amount of time. The C's there were some stragglers, but they're all still together. And the D's also have a big group. So it does look like the D's actually do have a split where there's a group that's just as big behind them. So it looks like about 20 seconds back from them, there's a group. It looks like there's about 30 in that group and there's about 20 in the front group. So this is the only category that we're seeing such a significant break in the
Now,
groups.
do you think that is because, the hard bit of the course is coming up later on? So we're seeing so many people, even if they're making an effort through the sprint, they're just sitting up afterwards, trying to get as much rest until the big bit of the course comes along.
That might be it. It might also be that in the D's, the split between sprinters and non-sprinters is bigger, right? Like if somebody is a sprinter and they're in the D's, okay, so they're hitting the downhill. So these sprinters are definitely going for it. Holy moly.
Yeah, they've gone early.
Yeah.
I
There's
saw that Ruth from the coalition. She sprinted from the back. She started at the back.
Yeah.
That's a really
And this
smart
is
move right there.
a masterclass in sprinting.
Yeah.
She was the last rider and then went across the line first. So if you're thinking about the fastest through segment as well, pretty smart racing, I would say.
So she's Ruth is actually one of the older riders that has just had a hip replacement, I think. And not just, but a couple months ago. And she's been racing for a really long time outside. And so she's hit all levels of fitness. I think she's raced at the A, B, C, D level before. So she's really experienced and she's a really smart sprinter. So not surprising to see her do that, but that is exactly what you should be doing and what I expected to see more than riders riding off the front in an FTS segment. So
right, that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see riders go from back to front because you're shortening the amount of time that you're actually working solo off the front.
Yeah. So we see, we were in with the A's and we're seeing them leave the desert pen. They're going to go up through Saddle Springs. And then they're going to go immediately down towards the climb. They go downhill and then they take a left towards the beginning of the epic climb. What's interesting about this part of the course is Saddle Springs is not really a climb. It's 3% for 600 meters, or approximately. But
that's enough to break apart some of the lower categories, but I doubt any of these A's or maybe even some of the B's. I doubt they're even going to feel it, to be honest.
I think
but our C's, D's, and E's, I bet they're going to be feeling it because these sprints, depending on where they are in their fitness level or their fitness journey, it's going to feel a lot different to them. Also because their groups, especially in the E's, their group is so small, and so they don't have a lot of there's not a lot of draft. You're not sort of shuffling riders around, sharing that workload.
The only thing I find interesting about Saddle Springs is it's a uphill followed by a downhill. So whenever you have the front of the group already descending when the back is still going over the cap, those back riders might not understand that the front is accelerating already. So if you're in the back of the group, you really need to press hard to make sure that you are up to speed and you're not losing touch with the group in front of you. This A group is riding pretty tight and they're not really strung out at all. So I don't think we'll see it here. But I have seen it happen in A and B groups where that is the point at which, like in Richmond, where you go, over Libby Hill and then down it towards 23rd Street, where it's a cap and then an immediate descent. There's no points on the line until finish line points at this point. So everyone kind of wants to stay together. Right,
funny. especially our GC leader. She's really going to want to sit in the pack. She's going to want to save her energy because that approach up to the epic bypass, that gets pretty steep. That's like what I think it tops out at 12%, and then it'll level off, but it never goes flat until you're on the bypass portion. So if someone hits it hard, they can really stretch out that group. And if that individual GC rider is not up there, that's potentially her, she could lose that yellow jersey.
Yeah, it is steep, but it's not that long. So I think it's about less than 2 minutes for the A's and around 2 minutes for the B's until you get to the bridge. And the bridge starts to flatten out a little.
Yeah, which it is draftable. And these ladies will probably most likely be rolling fast enough that it's completely draftable for them. But I don't know, 2 minutes at 8 to 12% is mentally exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's I think it's going to be interesting. We talk about different people's phenotypes, and you've got, you know, your sprinters in here, and we definitely saw some sprinters doing their stuff on the sprint segments. But now it'll be interesting to see, now that they have kind of tapped their legs, are they going to be able to handle this type of push? Because if it was me, I would be telling Ann Nevin right now that she should go hard on this climb, and then she should continue that press, because she's that diesel engine that we talked about yesterday, where if you look at her heart rate, she's probably at like 130, and she can probably go hard from here to the finish line. The last 9 kilometers are, for the most part, rolling and down. So if she can get over that top with the group, she could push the pace and kind of splinter everyone, because she can go forever. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Remind us where the finish line is on this course, if you could.
It's in the jungle. It's the jungle banner after you descend. So right by that waterfall. I don't actually know what it's officially called.
But it is in the jungle.
Yeah, it's in the jungle.
Okay, so they're beginning their approach. They're on, I think technically they've already passed the little obelisk. And yeah, so you see up in the right-hand corner, they're at 8%. I guess it's technically going down 7-6.
And you see these riot people are trying to do this riot team is really trying to disrupt this finish. You see all 3 of them started the climb fast and furious. So
yeah, that's what they're known for. That's one of my favorite things about the riot team is they get in there and they're just a menace, and I love it. I've had the opportunity to race with Riot, and every time it's okay, get in there, and how can you disrupt the school of fish?
Well, it is Ann Nevin from the coalition just dropped her feather power up, and we were already seeing some riders flying off of the back of this group, and Anna is not making it any easy for them, because she's putting down the watts right at the front of the race. So I feel very sorry for those. I mean, it's such a short little climb, but it's really nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anne doing the damage. And I really hate the fact that you get to the bridge section and it's still uphill and you feel like it should be flat.
Yeah,
you don't get a break.
Yeah.
And you're already tired from the 4 sprints that you did. And so it's, oh, here they go, closing the gap.
Yeah, well, that's Gucha. Gucha's going with her, and Lizzie Brooke, not surprising to see her up there too. But if they can create a split out of this front 10 to 15, then it becomes a group that you can work with, right? If it's just 1s or 2s, you have to ask yourself whether you really want to handle a 9-kilometer push. But if they can get a group of 10, then they have a chance to stay away. So it looks like.
And you can see Leonie Harper, who's the GC leader. She's up there currently in 4th position. So she's done pretty good job to cover that move by the 2 coalition riders.
This is excellent position for her.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to switch back to see where the bees are? They're on the climb right now. Come on, Vanessa. Just on the steepest kick, in the last kick. So they are not far behind the A's as far as time goes, which I think means the A's took it a little easier between their segments, because the first bees are also on the bridge. So that is fascinating. And we see not as much of a split in the bees, interestingly. I thought there was going to be more of a split here, but Clara LaGrosse, again, off the front by 2 seconds. So she's been doing a lot of work in this race. I doubt she wants to TT it alone, so maybe that 2 seconds is going to come down. But you see we've got the top, I see a lot of the top 10 riders up here with her. So
it's going to be very interesting to see whether the riders are going to push on and try and keep that split and really break things apart, or if they're actually still just going to sit up again. I feel like the Bs, at least the impression I get, is that they are working a lot harder than maybe the As, who've been a bit more coy in their racing. So it's going to be very interesting to see when we switch back through some of the other categories and we come back just to see what those gaps end up looking like.
Yeah, I think I do think that it's interesting to see the diesel engines up here right now and to see what they can do, because, for instance, I know Justine Calder on Coalition is also a diesel engine, and I know that she has an ability to recover in place and to just push that high power. So if she's in a group, then they can probably stay away. And it looks like that front group in the Bs at least is about 20 now, and that is a significant portion of the field, and I think they might be able to make something stick.
I mean, just looking at get the more overhead view. I mean, this is where we currently are with the Cs, and they are ridiculously strung out now. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether how this race is going to unfold, basically, because I imagine that Mac here is going to get caught by the other riders. You've got Van Lin, who's currently sitting in third, only 3 seconds behind. Probably not too worried about bridging over solo. Who else is there who's with her? Anybody else from the... I feel like she might be the only one from the top 5 in the GC who are together there. So that's really interesting. I mean, that's good news, I would say. Sarah Mack's currently sat in 5th. And then if it's Sarah Mack and Van Ryn who's in 3rd, if they're the only ones from the GC who managed to stick together at the front, that's going to be very interesting. And we'll probably see a bit of a shakeup. Of course, it depends how everything else works out. But yeah, interesting to see how things are already shaping up.
Yeah, if she's able to stay away, she could very well come in and take that individual GC, because there's not even 5 seconds between first place and 5th place in the category Cs.
Yeah, and at this point, I think if you were off the front, then if you were smart, you'd be looking back and saying, like, the people behind me, are they in the top 5? Are they close to me? Do I need to worry about them, or can I work with them? Because you don't want to blow up. You still have 9 kilometers. So
we're currently in with the Ds now. So we're going to see how they do. And it looks like it is Ruth again, riding off the front, dropping the feather power up from the very get-go. So means business, I think.
Yeah, this is not a bad tactic with that feather, because if you hit it so hard and then you deploy your feather, you can really stretch that gap, and that can at least break some spirits.
And so also, like, again, this is the intelligence of Ruth as a rider. She's a heavier rider, and she knows that she's likely not going to be able to keep up with the lightweight riders when they hit this climb, when it's over 6% and there's very little draft. So what she did there was she got out as far ahead as she could, so that she can ease back through this really steep bit. And that's definitely a tactical play on her part, where she wants to be in with the drafting, with a group drafting by the time they kind of level off when they hit the bridge. So she used that feather so that she was, look at her easing back as they go through this steep part. So it's kind of a masterclass, honestly. She, like, if we just sat with her the whole time, you could watch some really awesome tactics from somebody who knows her own strengths and can identify her weaknesses and work to minimize them. So that's awesome.
And speaking of tactics, I think we have to jump ahead just to see Calkins, because she is currently number 1 in the GC, and she is the rider who is currently now pushing ahead on this climb. So I think also a very, tactical kind of race from her, very well positioned, just waited for her moment before pushing ahead at the front. So very good to see from her. It's always great to see the GC riders, pushing ahead at the front, really, really like owning the jersey. So I think that's really cool to see as well.
Oh, absolutely. And it looks like she's also trying to stay with a group too. So don't push too far ahead unless you, again, want to work by yourself as you go ahead. So,
I mean, we also have a repeat of the current like GC. So we've got Tara here in first place. Then Connie Tang was right behind her. She's currently second on the GC. And then Isabella Stenvold was third there. So we have the GC being lived out on the road right now. So that's very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. Blair's currently sat in, I think, fifth, and she's fourth. And then where is Sarah Hughes? Can't see where Sarah is at the moment. So maybe Sarah is going to be the biggest loser, at least with regards to time during the race. So we might see her slipping off the GC, but everybody else is pretty much holding their own.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a big split in the teams that are in those top positions as well. So it's not being dominated by one team, which is great. I actually love to see kind of the mix, because I think that's a more interesting dynamic to watch.
Interestingly, what you were saying about Tara, you're like, it looks like she's staying with the group. Well, she now has an 8-second gap to three of the other riders.
Away with it.
20 seconds to the rest of the group. So I think she maybe heard you, Becca, and was like, no, actually.
F that, yeah.
Well, so, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see if she's going to just try and stick it now. I mean, to be honest, it looks like, just quickly jump back before we go back in with the A's. You got Connie and Isabella and Tio, who's not currently in the top 5, but she's probably going to be moving up here. So Tara's off the front, and then just got these 3 riders, and if they stay away, I mean, then it's all said and done. So really interesting to see the difference between the different categories. So we haven't seen as big a splits in the other categories ahead, but clearly in the Ds, Tara just said, enough is enough, I'm going. So
yeah, it's going to be tough for her, though, because, again, it is rolling descent for the last 9 kilometers. So we'll check back in and see if she can maintain that. But that's a tough one to maintain.
Yeah, there's no teams, though. So I don't know how well they're going to want to work together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're back in with the A's here.
So the A's have a group off the front of 8, and there's 2 coalition in there and 2 AO. Actually 3 AO, I think. So a little bit of tactics being played out here. Oh wait, Lizzie broke his Wahoo.
And we've got 4 kilometers left until the finish line, I believe. Yeah.
So this is an interesting group as well. Obviously, we weren't able to track the FTS and FAL from the sprint segments as we were flopping through, but it'd be interesting to see whether these are our top 10 individual women. From, obviously, there's the Queen Bee jersey falling off the back a little bit. I don't know whether she's hedging or she's I don't know whether she's dropping.
That's Harper. It looks like she's gonna stay in there. Yeah, I don't think she'll let it get away. She'll let them get away.
Yeah. Oh, there she goes. She's coming back in. It was that moment of, is this gonna fall apart or not? And you actually see the chase group is only 20 seconds back, but that's going to change the individual rankings at least. So
just a quick message that if you are watching, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, please do shoot us a message in the comments. Let us know who you're shouting for, who you believe is going to win. I've seen there's lots of comments already shouting out particular riders and teams, which is awesome to see. Really appreciate it. Send us in your predictions for the finish line, and we'll try and pull some of those into the stream.
I'd love to find some of the riders that we have information on, like the ESCO riders, the Castelli riders. We've got some information on some of these A riders that I would love to feature if we can find those women. So Tammy should be in the A group, and I'm not seeing her right now, so I'm hoping we can. She's one of those international runners who switched after she got injured to biking. So she lives in the mountains of North Wales. So, Reese, I'm sure you could give us some insight as to where that is.
It's north. It's in the upward bit of Wales.
Yes,
I mean, there are many different areas in North Wales. So, the people who live in North Wales are typically called Gogs, because north in Welsh is Gogledd. So, if you live in the north, you're normally called a Gog. And then quite often, if you live in the south, you're called a Taff. But that's mainly because of the Taff River, which doesn't cover all of the Taff River, does not run across all of South Wales, but typically you end up being categorized in one or the other. So,
well, I wonder if she identifies as a gaff. She said,
a Gog.
oh, a Gog, a gaff,
Yeah.
Gog. She does say that she lives there with her dog and husband, and the dog comes first. So,
well, yeah, you've read it out
I
that way,
remember
so.
reading that.
Yeah. And then
Are you sure she wrote that, or did the dog?
I don't know. Maybe her husband wrote it. He just knows her well.
We just seen in the chat, Tammy lives in Ellerley, so which is Snowdonia in English.
Oh, interesting. On the top of a mountain. Oof. Well, that makes sense because she says she likes to hill climb. So that
And
would make
I will
sense. She gotta get
be
home.
running up that twice in May. Sadly,
Why?
again.
Who are you running from?
Myself. Yes, I'll be doing UTMB.
Robbie the
Snowdonia.
dog wrote that, not me.
Robbie the dog.
All right.
So
So typically the
it.
bike comes first,
Yeah.
but you know.
It wasn't even in there.
Yeah, but
Maybe she's a runner at
the
heart.
bike comes first. Didn't a badger say that, or is that
Who? Oh,
A badger?
I don't know.
the badger?
The badger. And we also have another Castelli rider in here that lives in the Canadian wilderness with all sorts of stuff: chickens, dogs, cats, children. I love how the children are just looped in with the barnyard animals. I like her already. And she has been doing the esports champions.
So we're in the last kilometer. We're already in the last kilometer. So predictions here. Amanda's already said Bendy Gedig, Tammy. So we're getting a bit of Welsh in the chat.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think you do have that yellow that Queen Bee jersey sitting on the back way lower than everyone else. So
I think it's going to be her.
She's going to sprint through. But I would not. I want to know
going here.
Oh, wow, she went early
already with the orange numbers. Yeah, it's very early.
And it'll be interesting to see who has what power up, because that really can make a difference here. All right, so you see Lizzie Brooks coming through there. She got through everybody. Holy
I think she's
crap.
gonna keep this.
Yeah, that is.
I don't think she's gonna get. She's not gonna be caught.
Move to go all the way through.
Said and done.
Wow, so she gets those extra points.
Wow.
Well, and she just took the GC because there was less than a second between the top 3 riders in category A. So we'll see her in the Queen Bee jersey tomorrow.
That will be interesting. And it's still super close, so we'll see.
All right, we're in with the bees.
Yeah, all right. So we've got a big group out front, and we see, let's see, a whole bunch of synergy up here. AO, I see F3, Galaxy, Holly on Crush Pod. The once in former A. Once in future A.
Do we see the Queen Bee jersey up here? It should be.
Yes, I do.
Leonin.
Yep, she's sitting on the back. I feel like there's a pattern. The Queen Bee jerseys drafting.
I mean, you got to be pretty smart in order to earn that jersey.
Yeah. I do see quite a few AO in this group. So, and I see a few coalition as well. So I see Justine up there. That was that Diesel that I talked about earlier. And I see they're bouncing around a lot. So I see a lot of people, but Joanne Grogan's up there too.
Oh, quick, go down. Oh, through the
Through
mountain.
the rock.
Half a kilometer to go. And this is when we saw the A's start going super long. So
But
right around this corner, we'll see.
Made it stick. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you
see
have
if they mimic that.
Oh, I see Electric Spirit giving it a go now. So that's 400 meters to go. It looks
I've
like
seen
he's
some orange
actually-
numbers from Smith, Martinson already. So the big sprints are starting already. Yeah, lots of orange numbers. Joe Grogan.
Let's go, Joanne.
Come on.
So it looks like that Electric Spirit woman actually just did a lead out for her teammate. That was for Clara Lagros. So she just did a false start of the sprint.
Lagros is gonna get it.
That's a smart move because she's sitting 5th place
Whoa,
right now.
It's
And
gonna
if
be
she
close.
Oh my God!
So close.
I don't think she
crap.
got. I think Electric Spirit got it. I think that was
the
Clara.
Gross got that. The Gross got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was awesome. But 1, 2, 3 were within a second, so it'll count towards the team points. It'll be a little different, but for the individual classification, it'll just be less than a second. So,
so
fascinating, great finish.
Carolina is probably gonna. We'll see her in the Queen jersey tomorrow for whatever category B that just finished.
And it's interesting to see who finished in the front group because, again, you could have had sprinters that were that racked in a whole bunch of points and were just finished by the time they got to the climb and just said, see you later.
But they did their job. That was their job,
Exactly.
They're earning points for the team classification, and then
that's what's different about this.
Right. So now we're back. We're kind of back to the individual classification. Where we're still.
I nearly missed it. I nearly missed Van Reed.
Galaxy on the front, just running away.
Wow.
She's currently sitting 3rd.
Mac in 2nd.
She's top 10 too. She was down there in the top 10.
Looks like it's going to be Alan coming across in.
I wonder if we'll see Belinda in the Queen Bee jersey tomorrow because she had 9 seconds on.
Yeah.
And she was only 2. She wasn't even 2.5 seconds down in 3rd place.
You do see a lot of synergy in there. So a lot of synergy
here's
in
the
that
Condors. I'm Team Condor.
Yes, but I think these Condors are not the California Condors. I think these Condors are the ones that are actually from Europe someplace.
All right, so we're in with the Ds. So we were wondering what was going to happen in this category. And Tara Calkins has put 50 seconds into the 3 other riders. So Connie Tang, Tio, and who is it? It was Isabella Stenvold. So she's going to walk away with this one. So
what a superstar.
We're not going to be watching a sprint. We're going to be watching a procession. She will have a chance to step off the bike and just carry it over.
I do wonder though if she's going to cat up.
I was wondering the same thing because this is she's putting out big numbers. She's a 3 watts per kilogram for category D. That's a lot for category D.
Remember, it's not category D. You're thinking about it in the wrong way. We're in this new world of Swift racing score, which means anything.
Chill. What we're saying is, even though it's not the traditional category, if you do bust the limit of the Zwift racing score, you still cat it up.
Sure, but that is reliant on Zwift racing score doing what it's supposed to do. So I guess we'll see. So obviously, in the traditional category system, you'd be like, well, these are big numbers for a D. But we're in a slightly different world. We're in the upside down world a little bit. So it looks the same, but it's different.
So Pen D is 125 to 250. Tara Calkins has a 239 Zwift racing score already. So the question is,
so if she wins,
she wins
again.
So are you telling her to sit up now?
No, I'm merely curious if
she's not
or works the same way, So she's doing an amazing performance, and I don't think that you should ever not do your best. But I am curious to see whether she's setting numbers that are outside of the bounds of the,
Wow.
125 to 250 because
The proof will be in the pudding, I guess. What's really interesting is just hop back to see the chasing group, and it looks like Lee from Herd and also Ruth from Coalition managed to bridge over. So they weren't originally in this group. I think somebody else is in there as well. No, I think it's just 5 riders. So there was only originally 3 riders, and then we got those 2 extra riders managed to bridge up, which is amazing job for them because they've given themselves an extra 16, 17-second gap. If we look where Alombia is also from Coalition, then this is the 3rd group on the road. So very good, I'd say tactically. We didn't see it because we were following the other categories, but really good job by those 2 riders, I'd say, just to bridge over to the chase group, because that's going to definitely help them when it comes down to the GC.
You know who I can't find is Tio.
She's there.
I know she's in. Well, no, I'm in the like where she finished yesterday
Ah,
because
Oh,
she's in with Rhino.
did she do
And
the second race yesterday? Is that why?
oh, you know what? Probably
Because yesterday was the only day where there were 2 races. There was there was an earlier race and a later race for those in North
right.
America
And
or
she's
South America.
Canadian, so I
Yeah.
wonder. Yeah, I bet that second race suited her a little bit better. Well, that's
Um,
awesome. So we kind of see, someone we didn't get to see race yesterday. We see her, um, putting in the work and shining a little bit in
yeah.
with this I guess, and I mean, it's a new field for her if you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know where she races normally though. I mean, so she might race against these women all the time. But this is actually one of the nice things about doing a weekend tour, which I understand it can't happen very often because we all have lives.
We
But
do.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes the kids don't go away or the dogs don't go away or, you have to feed the chickens.
oh,
Um,
sorry, just jumping back. We know Tara is going to walk away with this one,
But
but I
Ruth
just
put a
saw Ruth
dig.
put in a big dig there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
wow, and
Ruth,
early.
yeah, she got 2 seconds already. So that's Tara's going to go over the line, and then we're going to head back and let's see if Ruth's going to make this stick. Whoa,
I
that's a
mean,
big gap already.
it's also super surprising given we were talking about how she's a smart racer where she gets in behind. So she must be feeling her oats right now because she went super long and she was not just sitting on the back like she did coming into the FTS. So she must be feeling good. She's almost there.
Well,
She's
yeah, but
working.
it's interesting. Tang's putting out 5.8 watts per kilo behind her. So Tang is on her tail. And
I
let's
don't
see if
think she
she's
can
gonna.
catch her.
Well,
Come
you
on,
say
come
that.
on,
You
Ruth. Do
say
it.
that.
Come on,
You
do
say
it.
that. It's
Don't
gonna
make
be
me a
close.
liar. Come on, Ruth.
Oh,
Oh God,
yes,
thank God.
just done it. Wow,
Ooh,
nice, nice.
wow,
Um,
that was that was scary.
okay, so
Um,
all of those riders are over. Let's just hop back then, and I'm just gonna try and see. Well, we did think that the E's were gonna get pretty split up,
yeah.
and yeah, we can see that Bosch has got 1 minute 50 over
Wow.
Walker. Um, and Walker is currently she's currently the ride GC leader in the E category. Um, and
She
then
is. And
we saw
I think Bosch raced in the second race yesterday.
mm,
Yeah.
and Marchant is currently in 3rd, and Marchant was sitting 4th. Karen Marchant, she was sitting 4th on the GC. So it does look like there's going to be a shake-up for sure in the GC for the E category.
Which makes sense because that E category is racing score 0 to 125. And the skill set of the women that were probably ahead yesterday is not the same skill set as the women that are working hard today. So I mean, this is going to be well over an hour. And we knew that if it was 2 watts a kilo, it was going to be 74 minutes. So in this category, you might be seeing 80 minutes, 85 minutes. And that is like a very long time to be pushing, Bosch is at 170 beats per minute. So I can't imagine having to work that hard for that long. That's high.
But hats
Okay.
off to them. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what I like about these all-female events is, like, it doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, like, it doesn't matter how long you spend out there as long as you spent time out there. And, every the A category is still gonna congratulate some of the lower categories, and the E's. I think one of the fun things about being like, because I race in the lower categories, is I get to look up to the B's and the A's, and I say, "Oh, one day I get to be like you guys." And at the same time, we get to look to the E's and say, like, "All right, here, I've got a hand for you. Let's,
I
give
think
you a
that
leg
that
up."
I think that that is amazing, and I think that between teams is more common between women. Within a team, a lot of mixed riders are very supportive, and a lot of men are really supportive. But outside of your own team, I think that women build more bridges. Like they are always willing to lend a
Right.
hand, and I really love that. Like,
I think that's the community aspect that we bring to this sport is,
yeah,
like, we're in it for the team, like the team atmosphere.
yeah, because we're already like a minority of the riders, and so and I
What?
I say this even though my
Not on
husband
this
is,
stream.
yeah, my husband is the biggest supporter of women's riding. So is like James Bailey and Reese. And there are lots of heads of teams that have supported the building the women's community a lot. So I know that I'm saying that women like to do this more, but there are a lot of men that have also helped. It's just helping each other, racer to racer, I think is something that's a big positive about women's racing.
I mean, definitely looking in our community. I mean, like the the whole women's section of the server, and all of the teams. Like, the great thing for me is it's like its own sort of microcosm where I'm just like, I don't have to be involved at all. Everything just works perfectly because you have so many amazing women involved in making everything happen, and I just don't have to worry about it. And yeah, I've always really loved that with the women's aspect of the coalition, at least. That
Yeah.
there's so many, like, I don't know, go-getters, I guess, which were just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna help do this. And yeah, maybe you don't see that as much on the men's side. I mean, of course you do to some degree, but like the women's community, I mean, you think about it, when we first launched and started up the team pretty much in the second round of the ZRL, we had four men's or mixed teams. So I guess they were men's teams, and then we had one women's team. And then from there it's just kind of exploded, and that can only really happen because so many people have kind of contributed to make it this kind of really welcoming community that we have there. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
I mean, there's like people like Susan Clark who know a lot about a lot of stuff to do with racing, who is perfectly willing to be like, oh, I know how to organize a race. Let me tell you, blah, 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 blah. And then you've got like Aunt Ruth, who we watched today a lot, actually, who is like very happy to either DS or to talk through positioning and to say, here's how you think about using that extra draft that you get by starting at the back. Here's how you think about sprinting. Here's your positioning. Like, oh, do you want to video chat me to show me your positioning, and maybe I can give you some hints? And it's kind of awesome. I mean, they're great.
Yeah, that that aspect of, like, there's always someone who knows someone who has the skill set that you need. Um, like, I know, for if I had a great idea for the next women's racing series, there are multiple people who I could very comfortably reach out to and request help. Whether it's on the Zwift side of things and the scheduling, or just coming up with a new kind of fun format. There's always someone who like is willing to help, or they know who to point me to. And I'm sure you see that in in the mixed realm as well, but I think it's so apparent in the women's field, or in the women's realm of things, because like you said, Becca, like we are a minority, and we know we are, and so rather than try and reinvent the wheel, we're gonna go find the wheel that works for us.
Yeah. And Carla Williams is a great example. The Warrior Games and Aeonian co-founder that puts on Tour Boudicca. She has always been willing to say, "Here, do you know how to fill out this form?" Like BL13 wanted to start their own series, for instance, and I remember her talking on her server about, like, do you need help putting together this form that Swift needs to put it on? And to help another team when you're not getting anything yourself, like it doesn't help her in any way.
Right. And
But
Carla, I think one of the great things about Carla is she's not like, she's not category A. She's not, she's category C, and she's like this matriarch of the Aeonian team. I think sometimes people forget that, like, you can just be like an ordinary person, and you can also be the leader of whatever team. You don't have to be an
like
elite A.
Reese,
You can be an elite A. Like we see. Um,
I did an elite race the other day
Are you?
and wasn't
Because Reese,
last.
I don't know anything
Remember,
about you, so like to me, you're like the wizard guru for
I used to
coalition.
be a B when I used to race bikes in real life, and now I'm a C. So, in that sense, I am very much like Carla. I am nowhere near the A group, although I have done 2 elite races in my life. So,
I like how you threw in the other one too.
well, the other one I was definitely last because it was 2 laps of Bologna.
Ugh,
I
Uh,
just did Bologna this morning. I did 2
ugh,
individual time trials this morning, foolishly
ugh.
not
oh,
believing that
can
the
you imagine
second
2
one.
laps of Bologna?
No.
Horrible.
I
But we
mean,
we did we did win the race though as the elite team. So.
Oh, all due to you, clearly.
I played some small, tiny part. Yeah, I did give a lead out into the first time up the Bologna climb. It was short lived. I was a spark which burnt very brightly, but not for very long.
like a match.
Yeah. Yeah. But like one of those tiny matches that come from the matchbook, not even those
The
nice
ones that you
long
have to fold
matches.
over and then you
Yeah.
pull it through. Yeah.
Like that
Yep.
type of
Like a
match.
Sylvanian family size match.
Yeah. Okay, so we see Bosch coming into the finish line. She's got a kilometer to go. Still working hard. You see her heart rate is still super high, which means she's been pushing this whole time by herself. And she's taken nearly 2.5 minutes on Walker, who is in the Queen Bee jersey behind her. So still putting in the work to
I have
finish
no
out strong.
idea what Bosch looks like because I looked her up on companion app, and I don't think this is actually her. Uh,
I
it
love
is a
that so
Hello
much.
Kitty Darth Vader, which I do love, but
I am here for it. Actually, I think it's also so Becca, you say that her heart rate is super high. To me, that's not a very high heart rate.
Oh,
And
that's because they're
so
young.
I think that's a great example of like the age diversity of the group. Um, because
Yeah.
you're gonna have women who are closer to my age, and their heart rates are gonna be, I mean, kind of sky high, 185 plus, and they're gonna be up there for kind of the whole time. And then
oh,
athletes begin to age, their max heart rate decreases. And
So Reese, when
so
you looked her up, did you see her age?
oh,
yeah.
did it? No, she's private.
Oh,
So
wise
So
choice.
she
maybe
could
on
be
on Swift Power you'll be able to find out. Maybe.
she could
I
only
can't
be like
find
an
her. I cannot find
I-23
her
though.
on Swift Power.
Yeah,
Um,
because I mean,
she's
we'll
got
have
that
to
weird
see.
spelling BOSH. It's hard. If
It's
you
so
look up
hard.
Galaxy, you could find her that way because she's on the Galaxy team, right?
All right, that's where we're going.
Go check it out.
But like, I know that my race pace is 165. That is like, if I'm not at 165, I'm not working hard. If I am at 165, then I'm racing.
Right.
And
Whereas mine is 185.
yeah, that is the difference between us in age. Almost exactly. So, all right. So we saw the finish for everyone.
That's stage 2.
That's stage 2. The second place for the E's is just about to cross the line in a kilometer. So we can see at least a couple of them come through.
Oh, can we now?
Oh yeah,
I have to go and try and find them. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, it's a Walker.
It's Anna Walker, I know.
And
which Bosch, I bet we're gonna see Bosch in the yellow jersey tomorrow, because I mean that's a big gap.
Yeah,
and I know she competed
way.
yesterday, but for some reason I can't find her results or her existence on Zwift Power.
Oh, she may
Mystery
be a new rider.
Bosch.
Because she's 0 to 125. She may not even be on Zwift. Well, I think she probably needs that Zwift Power account, but she might. People change their names on Companion all the time, and kind of it's hard.
Well, I think that her name might be Beatrice Osh, but I suspect it's not. So it's definitely harder when people don't use their real names.
Yeah, I mean, which is one reason that some teams require that you do use your real name. All right, so tomorrow, same time. The course tomorrow is in New York.
Yes, I'm so excited for New York racing. Back in New York City, baby.
I'm walking over here.
Yeah.
I think we all need to talk in Brooklyn accents.
Yeah. Hardest for me, I think.
Yeah, I was like, good luck to Reese picking that one up.
Becca, I don't know. Maybe I can still do better than Becca.
What?
Go on, do your best.
No, I'm going to save it.
Anyway, but tomorrow, New York City, it's the Queen stage. So it's the NYC QOM after party. We'll do an overview of the course tomorrow. If you want to, you're welcome to Google it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's been a long time since we've actually raced in New York. But there are power-ups, there are intermediate points, there are finishing points. It's going to be
amazing.
It's going to be fast and hard, honestly. Like anytime we're racing on the glass bridges, there's a lot of big ups in this course. So I'm really excited to see the climbers come out. Like we saw the sprinters today, we saw the smart racers. I mean, not that hopefully everybody's racing smart this weekend. But we're really going to see our climbers shine tomorrow. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and there is also a segment tomorrow. So there's a sprint segment that's in play.
Yes, New York Sprint Reverse, and it's FTS.
Yeah, but that is a sprinter's sprint, right? That's a short sprint. So we'll see different sprinters probably succeed in that one. And that one is also 37 kilometers. So another long one.
It's a long race.
And I look forward to spending forever with you guys again tomorrow.
Forever, because not everybody doesn't see. They just see this stream and they think this is the only time we talk to each other. But no, we spend hours beforehand rehearsing, picking out our outfits. Really, really, really everything.
You're lucky I'm wearing pants.
I said I'm wearing PJs.
I mean, at least we can see your body today, so that's good, Jillian.
Not just a floating head.
Yeah.
And you look smart because you've got glasses. I gotta find glasses for tomorrow.
Yeah, you've got to have glasses because
I'll be on it tomorrow. All right, so tomorrow we'll go through our new GC classification to start out. And if anybody wants to hear anything, I know this is the end of the stream when no one's still watching, but if there's anything
that's not true. There's still many people still watching. They want to see What's happening? No,
Yeah.
can you not see the viewer count?
I mean, we still got
No.
Willoughby finishing and Ange and
Karis,
M.
Karis, interestingly, her name on the GC is Karis Willoughby, but on Zwift, her name is Karis van der Willoughby, which I like to think is just a little bit of a flourish, we would call it, rather than. I mean, her real name might be van der Willoughby, but it would be a very interesting combination of sort of
Genres.
languages, genres. Yeah.
Well, it could also be marriage. That'll do it every time.
But van der Willoughby, that's a very unique name.
Yeah. Okay,
Anyway,
you're
lovely.
right.
She's
Right.
got the ears, little Scotty squirrel ears.
I like this jersey too. I think it's
Well,
sharp.
it works well with the Vixen. I mean, Vixen's it's an old team. It's been around for a long time.
Really?
And funnily enough, the squirrel ears look a little bit like fox ears, so it goes quite well with
Yeah.
the kit, to be honest. So,
Well,
Yeah.
it's also the Boudicca colors.
Yeah. I mean,
oh,
everything's in line. She's doing great.
very
Okay.
aligned.
Outro music?
Oh yeah, I mean, do we can have some coalition outro music, add a little bit of spice,
Just for the anniversary?
just as a reward as well for everybody who
Birthday.
stayed for all this time. And it is our birthday.
Yeah.
So happy birthday. I'm it's off the screen. Raising a toast. Jillian's got her cocktail.
I got
recovery.
I got like some sawdust here.
This stream has been sponsored by Justino's Madeira. 10 years old. Look at that bottle. It looks like a pirate's sort of bottle.
It does look like a pirate.
Thank you, Justino.
Yeah.
So yes, outro music, and then we will see you all tomorrow, same time, for the final race, and we will be crowning our queens of the Tour de Boudicca.
We're all queens. Everyone that completed this is a queen.
Yeah.
But the queen of queens. We'll just
I
call
mean,
it
but there is a winner in the spirit of racing.
Yeah. But
Some of us do race to win, and
let's call it the queen of queens. Let's call her the queen of
the
queens.
queen of queens.
The queen of queens. Okay, there it is. That is the perfect segue for the outro music. Again, thanks to everybody for watching and everybody who contributed to the chat. We always appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Ciao.
Bye.
Cheers.